back to another week of Two Sheep in a Pool. My name's James.
And my name's Ben.
How are you feeling this week?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good. I've had a good week.
Not overtired looking after the dog?
Nah, I mean, I am, but it's becoming normality now.
Yeah.
So now I'm just becoming an early riser.
Yeah, you're like those monks that, worked on gaming for 20 hours a day, except you're doing it with a dog.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
20 hours. Yeah, it probably is about 20 hours a day.
And only four hours sleep.
Yeah.
Who needs else?
No, I'm starting to go to bed early. I'm becoming you, is what's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. I'm not saying, oh man, I went to bed quite late. I was knackered today.
What's quite late for you now?
10:30.
Yeah.
Which is like an hour and a half after I was supposed to go to bed.
Yeah.
Anyway,
this makes good listening, doesn't it?
I had a weird encounter today.
Go on.
So I was at work and I was putting out some jam.
Okay.
Stocking some jam.
What flavour?
Strawberry.
Nice.
Strawberry jam. And a man comes up to me and he goes, oh, at least jam. I've not had that in a while. And it gets weirder.
Go on.
And then he goes,
I like it already.
He doesn't do it. Sorry, he doesn't say anything. Then he just strokes my arm as he walks away. So I'm putting it out and he goes, and he's like, just rubbing.
What did this man look like?
He was like an old man with
Did you get his name?
I didn't ask for his name, no.
Is it the same man that stroked my arm
Possibly.
and did other things?
No, I don't think it is.
Okay.
He looked maybe, I don't know, early 60s, something like that, but he walked with a cane and had a beard.
Oh, are you sure it's not? Because this guy was probably early 60s and had a cane.
Oh, okay.
He didn't have a beard, but it's not entirely, it's not
grown
impossible
a beard.
for him to grow a beard.
I hope not, because then that would be a weird
What was his
connection.
accent? That
He was quite northern.
Okay, it's not him then.
No, okay. Cool. Yeah, I just thought it was really weird, and I was like, "Why are you?" And then he walked away. I'm like, "What am I supposed to do now?"
You should have called. Hey, get back here!
Don't touch me! And then he went to the tills and had a go at the till. The lady on the till, being like, "You're talking too fast." Well, that's just how Scousers talk, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Very odd man.
Very odd. Well, I've got a complaint as well.
Go on then.
I was in a coffee shop yesterday with my dog. They were dog friendly. I wasn't just bringing a dog in there. And I was giving her treats for good behaviour because we're trying to do positive reinforcement. If she sits, when I tell her to, she'll get a treat. If she's lying down and settled, then I'll say settle, give her a treat. That type of thing. Mm-hmm. And this guy comes over and he goes, oh, is that a border collie? And I was like, definitely not. But I was like, I'm not judging. That's fine that you don't know dog breeds. However, it did become an issue later on.
Right.
So he goes on to ask a few things about the dog.
Did you correct him? Did you tell him?
No, I was like, oh no, she's Spaniel mix. So she's part Cocker, part Springer. I was like, that's fine. He asked a few questions about dogs and said, I think he wanted to know if she was going into training to be like a drug dog because he'd seen a dog that looked like her that smelt for drugs or something.
Did drugs?
That did
in
drugs,
a drug
yeah.
den.
But then he went to say, he was like, I'm not an expert, and I was like, clearly, but you're giving her too many treats.
Right.
And I was like, what? I was like, I didn't say anything for a minute. He was like, you're giving her too many treats. It just seems a lot, you're just giving her, she's not working for it. You need to stop doing that. And I was like, fuck off. I was like, well, I know I'm training her positive reinforcement. She gets something when she's being good. And he was like, it just looks a lot though. You shouldn't be doing that. And I was like, just fuck off. Just, what is it with people? My complaint is people that give advice that clearly he's said himself. He just thought that my spaniel was a border collie.
Right.
Went on to say, I'm not an expert, so why give advice? It'd be like me walking up to you in a chess game and going, oh, you shouldn't have done that move, when I know nothing about it. If he'd been a professional dog trainer, and he's been like, oh, I've been raising spaniels all my life, I just noticed, by the way, I think you're doing this wrong, you could do this. I'd be like, that's totally fine. But when some random fucking idiot comes over and does that, just piss off.
I think, at least if he had an explanation other than, it's just too many.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, oh, you need to do it, give a period of time in between because the memory or something like that.
But I'm like, I'm going to take the advice of dog trainers over you.
A weird coffee man.
A weird coffee man.
Once again, everyone's a knobhead, isn't it?
Everyone's a knobhead.
I think this is how we started the year.
And we're going to finish the year like it too. Everyone's a knobhead.
Apart from our
listeners. They can all piss off. No, they can piss off too.
Awkward.
Anyway, that's my complaints.
Right.
My rant's over.
Right, should we move on to News Bleat then?
Let's do it.
Have you seen that Hasbro have launched a new version of Monopoly?
I have not. Although I had a dream about Monopoly last night.
Interesting.
It was on sale for £5, and I thought that's a bargain, and I didn't even buy it.
Is that because do you not already have Monopoly?
We've got too many, and I think that's why I didn't buy it in my dream. I
Right.
thought we've got 4 already.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is called Ms. Monopoly. So what sets Miss or Miss MS, you know the MS? Ms. Monopoly apart from regular versions. So instead of real estate like the classic game, players invest in inventions and innovations made by women. So
Okay.
like the chocolate chip cookies and bulletproof vests. That's
Okay.
cool.
That's cool.
But there is some controversy around this because unlike the classic game, when women pass go, they get $240, and when men pass go, they only get $200.
That is not feminism.
Is
That's
that
not equality.
It's not, is it?
That's a very odd concept for a game.
Mm-hmm. The reason they've said is it's a fun new take on the game that creates a world where women have an advantage often enjoyed by men.
If Monopoly had originated that men got 240 and women
Right.
got 200, I'd be like, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah.
But I mean, that would be a massive issue that I feel would have been addressed by now. That's a little odd.
It is, isn't it? And normal Monopoly isn't called Mr. Monopoly either.
No. Are we? Is this because we're two
Are we the wrong
white
people?
male
Yes.
people? Are we? Yeah.
Possibly.
speaking out of
I'd be
turn
curious
here.
to see what other people think.
I think not, though.
Maybe it's just positive, bringing notoriety to the plight that women have.
I mean, nothing wrong with that. If the game bothers you, you don't have to buy the game. It's
No.
not like you now have to play Monopoly differently. I had not heard that, though.
Yes.
Thank you for that tidbit.
I thought would be interesting. Yeah, it seems a bit silly.
A little bit.
Monopoly have gone a bit crazy, haven't they, with all the different versions of Monopoly.
So many. But hence why I've got like 4 different versions.
And almost all of them are kind of the same, really.
Yeah, they are.
It's like basically having a different skin for a character in a game, isn't it?
Only one of the ones I've got has like a different set of rules where you get like bonuses for landing
Yeah.
on certain things. That's quite good because it freshens up Monopoly a bit.
Yeah, the one I play with Pokemon is if you roll a double of a single number,
Yeah,
you can get a special power.
you can get something like that. I love Monopoly.
Do you? I think it's a really terrible game.
I love it.
It's long.
Yeah.
It's boring.
No.
It's almost all luck. There's no like very little skill involved.
No, I think there's bits of. Look, I get what you mean. It's kind of like who lands where first. But once the game gets going, and if you're playing with a rule set of you can like make deals and bargain with people, and I like it. It's good. What do you reckon the cost is of the most expensive beer in the world?
I've seen this news.
Have you seen this?
It was like 55,000.
It is exactly 55,000.
There you go.
However, it is a bit of a trick question because he accidentally paid 55,000. He ordered a.
Did they not accidentally charge him?
Yeah, they did. So it was.
It's not like he dropped a £55,000 bill.
Whoops. No, he ordered a pint of. It was called Duke's IPA. And they accidentally charged him 55 grand. But not only that, he got charged 1,382 transaction fee as well.
Because he was American, right?
Australian
Australian
in
okay,
the UK. But no, he's being refunded for it now.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that? Well, I might have just got declined. I wouldn't have been able to buy a 55,000 beer.
Yeah, I'm complaining on Twitter that he can't believe that the bank would just let that amount of money go from just his credit card without even being like,
No question.
Are you sure you want to do this on a beer in a pub?
I think he was a little disgruntled as well because the person who charged it when he took it over to them laughed.
Yeah, well, didn't he was just like, how much did I pay for that? And they're like,
Yeah.
I'm going to get my manager. That was probably that I've lost my job.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
But that was that anyway.
That sounds a lot like the... did you hear the story that was going around, I don't know, maybe a month ago, of a couple going on a date to the Shard, and they bought bottles of wine that they thought were £50 maybe,
Yeah.
but they were like $5,000 or something.
But they were actually 5 grand.
They were actually $5,000.
Well, that's on them for not checking.
Yeah, I think it was like, it was like 5000, and like, oh, it's £50. Yeah.
But there was no decimal.
Yeah, although it might have been like £20 or something like
Yeah,
that, and
yeah.
they thought, and they spent $4,000 or something on 2
Jesus.
bottles. But I think it turned out that was all bollocks. It was just a story.
Oh,
that was
really?
growing. Yeah. Because the Shard came out and were like, we don't even have a bottle that's 2,000.
We don't even sell wine.
We're an office place. Yeah. So what a shame.
You got any more?
That's unless we want to talk politics again, which I really don't.
Politics can go away.
Yep.
For a long time. I've got one more.
Go on.
So there was a flight going from Manchester to Spain.
Just landing anywhere in Spain.
Anywhere
Mystery
in Spain.
plane. Maybe you'll turn up where you bought.
And the pilot, for some reason or another, was delayed and couldn't get to the flight.
Right.
So they were just sitting on the runway and they were told that the flight couldn't go.
Mm-hmm.
Someone on the plane puts their hand up and they're like, I'm a pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Can I fly the plane? It turns out it was EasyJet, the company, and he was an EasyJet pilot. Off duty, obviously, about to go on holiday. Right. So he was like, can I call head office and try and get clearance to fly this plane? Because they had the co-pilot there. They just needed two. Right. Apparently they called back and were like, please take this flight. Because otherwise it's going to cost them a load of money to have to cancel it. Refunds and everything. So there's a picture of him just like shorts and t-shirt, goes up to the front of the plane and flies them on holiday. How cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
I think it sounds like the kind of thing that if you're a kid at school, you'd be like, my dad's so cool, he just flew the plane on holiday. Yeah, but it's actually true.
It's actually true.
I was like, that's pretty cool.
I thought you were going to be like, turn around and it wasn't actually a pilot, but they let him fly anyway. And it was just dude
me.
with
I flew a plane.
just fucking big balls, just like, fuck, I need to get on holiday. I paid all this money. I need to get to Mystery Spain.
Mystery Spain. Hang on, now this has become a... I think it literally just says Spain in this article.
Is this how Brexit we are now? You don't even have town. It's just every place is just a country.
Oh no, Alicante.
Alicante. There we go.
Anyway, that was, I thought, a little heartwarming story.
Thank you. That's very nice. This is like a soft, instead of politics, we're doing that's like the end of the news roundup, isn't it?
Yeah.
And also today, what's your will you recommend then?
Oh, well, I recommend smart meters.
Okay.
I love them.
Okay.
We got a smart meter installed and I've turned into the most pedantic, I went around the whole house at the start because it shows you how much you'd be using in an hour. Yeah. So I went around I turned everything off. Yeah. And I was like, okay, let's work out what's using electricity. Okay. And I turn things on one by one. I was like, that one uses 2 pence an hour, so that's gone.
Just unscrewed.
Not using that. The smart bulbs, the Google ones, they use nothing.
Wow.
Nothing.
Because they'll be LEDs, won't they?
Because they're so low powered. Yeah. So they can stay on. I've turned into probably the most annoying human ever.
What did you find out was the most powerful?
Our oven's quite a lot.
Yeah.
Our oven is the most boring conversation ever.
Oh, we're getting old now.
Our oven, super dated. I think it was put in with the house. But not only does it use a lot, because I'd expect it to use a fair bit. Yeah. It has this thing after we turn it off, because we knew it made this noise for half an hour afterwards. It's still on and using electricity for 30 minutes after we turn it off.
Is it not just fanning the heat out?
It must be. It just takes a long time. Yeah. Anyway.
You should leave the door open.
Yeah.
Then you don't need central heating.
Maybe that'd be good. But then the dog would get in, get cooked. That just wouldn't be good, would it?
And then you get a new dog, right? Think about this. Feed it the old dog as treats.
Ah, what a great
Save
idea.
money.
And then what happens with that dog when we open the oven again? Is this just a circle of life now that... Yeah. Recycling of dogs.
Mm-hmm. Just get a big enough dog that can't fit in the oven.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Good thinking. So, yeah, get smart meters, everyone.
Good.
If you want to become pedantic, boring...
Old man.
Old man, yeah. Anyway.
Yes.
Shall we move on?
Yes.
To fake news or not?
Fake news or not?
Is that the new theme tune? That was new.
I'm just trying to find it on my phone. I'm just trying to extend it.
Oh, you delaying?
Delay.
You realise that I can edit this later, James?
No, I've got to be quick. Okay.
Fake news or not? The section where James brings...
the section where James loses points every week.
Well, he's
bitter and angry about it.
He's meant to bring a news headline that may or may not be fake. I have to work out which it is, and I've been winning for many a week now.
I think it might be 50-0.
Probably is at this point. I've stopped counting for quite a while. So.
Well, it's because you've won.
Well, you've only got 2 episodes before we review the segment.
It's true.
So...
True. Okay. 54-year-old man arrested after breaking into property and photocopying his face.
Okay. Juicy. Well, I've got no questions.
Fuck it, have some questions. It doesn't make any
Oh,
difference.
okay.
You might as well.
Where was this? The classic.
This was in Toronto.
In
America.
Toronto?
I say America, it's not, it's Canada. North America. North American continent. Toronto. But Canada.
Have you slipped up there?
No.
Okay.
Florida. Toronto in Florida. Everything's in Florida.
Okay, it happened in Toronto. Did he know the house? I mean, I know he broke in there, but was it a stranger? Was it a neighbour? Was it a friend? Is it like me breaking into yours and photocopying my face?
He wasn't known to the occupants.
He wasn't known to the occupants. So they got back, went to their photocopier, and just found images of a man's face.
Just a man's face, yeah. And he'd also eaten some food.
Okay.
At the place.
Okay. I've seen things like this before when they're like, and they ate food when they broke into my property. I wouldn't have that good of like tabs on what's in my fridge to know if someone had eaten from it.
But if you say you came home and found some chicken, an empty chicken can on the counter,
I suppose that would be a giveaway.
Yeah, like if someone had broken into your house, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You walk in, your front door's been broken in, stuff's been stolen.
Yeah,
and then you might go, "You stole my fucking ice cream as well."
Oh yeah, I suppose if it was like, I've been saving that ice cream all week.
Yeah.
Okay, then maybe.
They've eaten all my dog's treats.
Right, can I point out a flaw in this criminal's plan?
Okay.
He's left his face as evidence.
Oh, yes. I'm not
as far
saying...
as crimes go.
I mean, it's a pretty weak crime as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure how mad I would be.
Did he steal anything else? Did he just have some chicken, leave his face?
It's just breaking and entering and no theft, yeah.
That's pretty odd.
I guess it was.
I want to know the motivation. I'd have to guess that
pure
drugs...
bants.
Pure bants.
Pure bants, yeah.
Okay. Drugs must have been involved. Or alcohol. Or both.
Drugs. Alcohol is a drug.
You're not wrong. I'm going off the fact that this is my only reasoning here.
Okay.
That you said
Bants.
Toronto in America.
Right.
Which means this is fake. I think this is a slip up.
You have caught me in a truth here. This is not fake news. This is real news.
God damn it.
Would you like to see the picture of the
I would
photocopy?
love to. He's wearing a hat
He's
too.
wearing a fucking fedora.
He looks like, you know when you give your phone to a parent or something who doesn't know how to use technology and they're just like looking confused selfie.
No, it's like FaceTiming your mum.
Yeah, when they hold it like under their chin and they're like,
yeah,
oh, what's going on here? Looks just like that.
Yep.
Not like my mum. It doesn't look like my mum. Well, there we go.
There you go.
You've won.
Yeah, the Toronto was just a misspeak.
That was just a misspeak.
Mm-hmm. Double bluff.
Double bluff. Well, congratulations
for winning one.
On your win.
Right, you know what? We'll do
I'll insert some applause here.
Yeah, woo, go James. You're the best.
Anyway, shall we move on to the main topic?
Yes.
All right, then. We're here now. We've arrived at the main topic.
It's like time travel.
What are we talking about today?
Mysteries.
Mysteries. Specifically, mysterious...
disappearances or deaths.
Or deaths. Well, I've gone... In a classic main topic thing, I've focused on one and gone quite deep. Mm-hmm. And I think you've got a couple.
I've got 18 surface level. I've got one that's just like, a dude's gone.
A dude's gone. Shit.
Where'd he go, though? And that's it. That's all I've got. That was the whole article.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's strange. No, but I have got a few.
You got a few
that I have looked at, but not done massive research myself.
Okay. Well, you kick things off.
Okay.
Maybe we can use yours as like intervals in the middle of my case.
Now can be like a break.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Cool. Well, the first one is a classic. Well, a bit of a throwing in a bit of conspiracy as well.
Okay. We love a bit of conspiracy.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Jonathan Luna worked as an assistant United States attorney in Elkbridge, Baltimore. His focus was on convicting sexual predators. On the 4th of December 2003, Luna left his home for work. He had been working on a case involving two men who were accused of dealing heroin from their music label studio, Stash House Records. One of the men was also facing a murder charge.
Okay.
After working through the evening, Luna called his colleague around 9 p.m. to say he was just about to head home. They were preparing an offer to the men as a plea deal, and according to the clocking out system, Luna didn't leave until 11:38 p.m.
Oh.
Luna needed his glasses to drive, yet left them behind in the office.
Okay.
At around 1 a.m., Luna's car entered Delaware, where $200 was lifted from his credit card. He then entered New Jersey and Pennsylvania, and his credit card was used once again. Luna's Easy Pass was used, but after entering Delaware, so that's like going through toll stuff.
Yeah. Like a fast pass.
Yeah. And after entering Delaware, he started to purchase toll tickets. At around 5:30 a.m. the following morning, a worker at Sensing and Weaver in Pennsylvania noticed a car parked behind the building. He noticed that there was blood was smeared all over the door and the front fender.
Not a good sign.
Mm-hmm. In the back seat was a puddle of blood on the floor.
Also not a good sign.
As well as on the seat.
Okay.
Money was scattered in the car, and in a nearby creek, he found the body of Jonathan Luna. Okay. He had sustained 36 stab wounds with his own penknife. His hands were slashed, as well as his scrotum and his throat. After the attack, Luna was drowned in the creek.
Oh, God.
Yeah. So, investigators found that the toll tickets had blood smeared on them. Moreover, the puddle of blood in the back indicated that Luna had been in the back seat when sustaining the wounds.
Yeah.
Inside the cars, investigators found an unidentified fingerprint in the blood, as well as an unidentified blood indicating Luna wasn't alone.
Mm.
The death was initially ruled a homicide, but the FBI asked the pathologist to change it to suicide. The pathologist said that Luna had defensive wounds and even stab wounds to his back that could be indicative of a brutal and frenzied attack from someone else. Soon, a smear campaign on Luna's reputation was born. It reported that Luna may have been involved in a robbery case where $36,000 went missing, and the Baltimore Sun implied that Luna was involved and alluded that he committed suicide because he was afraid of getting fired. There was never any evidence to back up these claims, however, and many have theorized that Luna's death was connected to the drug ring case he was prosecuting.
I mean, it's a suicide, literally,
yeah.
And I use literally, not in a metaphorical sense, impossible.
You think, yeah, probably.
If you were going to commit suicide, you wouldn't slash your scrotum, stab yourself 37 times, slash your throat, stab yourself in the back. I think you'd die from blood loss before you could finish
drowning
doing
yourself.
all that, and then drown yourself afterwards.
Yeah.
One thing, because I looked through a couple of cases before I settled on one. One thing that there seems to be, not besmirching the FBI in any way, but they always seem to do some weird, shady shit in a lot of these cases for reasons that don't seem clear.
Yeah.
Like maybe there was a loophole in there that it's like they changed it to something to keep the case going for longer, or there's a weird reason that can be.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I wonder if they were somehow involved in trying to bring down the drug case.
Yeah.
And then having the police go after the people that were involved in the drug case for the murder would bring down an inside man or something like that.
If there's something like that, that makes sense. And there's probably a lot of cases that make it. There's a headline thing in there. Do you know what I mean? Right. Okay. So it was a case of the case was never fully.
Yeah. Well, because it was suicide, you can't prosecute anybody for murder if that they killed themselves.
Wow.
So it's a bit mysterious of what happened, but I mean, obviously he's dead.
I mean, mysterious in the sense of what surrounded it, not that whether he died or not.
Yes. Yeah. What do you think? Do you think that's just the FBI being shady as shit, or?
I would like to believe there's a reason that it was changed to a suicide. That it was to bring. Do we find out if any more happened with the drug ring? If it came to.
I couldn't find anything.
To be shut down, or I think I have to believe that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's a bit terrifying. If you think like a protection level, like FBI and the police and that, if you think that they are as corrupt as something like that may suggest, it's just a bit too terrifying, isn't it?
Well, I'm sure for example, the guy that assassinated Kennedy,
Oswald, isn't it?
George, Fred, no.
I can't remember. Him, anyway.
Yeah, wasn't he in part involved in like FBI mind control theory stuff?
God, maybe.
Yeah.
We've not actually done that conspiracy in detail, have we?
We haven't.
We should do that on our next conspiracy.
Okay.
We're due a conspiracy.
We are. Well, maybe that's. I thought that, and I thought, wow, this one seems a little bit.
Let's take that. Put a pin in it.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that one.
Little conspiracy stuff. Yeah, I think FBI does seem shady as shit.
Or I suppose there has to be an element of shadiness when you're trying to bring down some shady stuff.
Two wrongs don't make a right, though, Ben.
Yeah, you can't fight fire with fire.
True.
Right, shall I begin my case?
Yeah.
And we'll intersect with some more
Other stuff.
as we go on. Okay.
Yes.
Right, let's set the scene. Okay. It's a dark and rainy night. Can you hear the rain?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Are you going to put, like, effects in here?
I will now. Right, so Wednesday, the 24th of November, 1971. That's where we are
I
currently.
remember it well.
Have you heard of the case of D.B. Cooper?
It rings a little bit of a bell.
Okay, well, that's what we're talking about anyway.
Okay.
Right, so a man called Dan Cooper buys a plane ticket to Portland. Okay.
Oregon.
Oregon, yes. Dan Cooper is described as mid-40s. He's wearing a business suit with a long black overcoat, brown loafers, white shirt, black tie, carrying a briefcase, and a brown paper bag.
Okay.
There's reasons for this. I'm not just overly describing
Okay.
the scene. Okay.
Would you describe him as good looking?
I've seen a sketch of him, and I'd describe him as very average looking.
What colour eyes did he have?
Well, I don't know, because the sketch has him wearing thick black sunglasses, which come into play.
Okay.
Okay. So he boards the plane, and he takes his seat, where he orders a bourbon and lemonade.
It's separately or together?
I think together.
Oh.
I thought it was an odd combo. Maybe it was separately. Maybe it was bourbon, lemonade on the other hand.
Yeah.
He orders that anyway.
Okay.
Then he calls over a stewardess. He's come here, hands her a note, which she takes and just puts in her pocket and walks off. Which he's like, "Excuse me, miss, you should read that note because I've got a bomb."
Oh wow.
So I thought that kind of spoiled his discreet. Here's a note. Oh, come back, I've got a bomb. So he does this. She reads the note, and it basically says, "I've got a bomb." He calls her back over, says, "Sit down with me." So she sits down. He opens his briefcase, and inside is sticks of red explosives, and it's surrounded by wires.
Right.
So it appears there is a bomb. He then sends another note to the captain, pilot. That's the right word, not the captain of this ship.
Yes.
Saying that he
No,
demands.
This is your captain speaking. This is your
Oh,
pilot speaking.
Did they say captain?
This is your capitan.
So he sends a note to the captain pilot.
Yep.
Asking for 4 parachutes and $200,000 in $20 bills, which equates to about 1.2 million now.
I think I have heard this story now. Actually,
You have heard this?
Yeah.
Okay, so he demands this, and he orders the flight to land in Seattle, where he.
So it was already in flight. Yeah.
So it's already in flight as this is going in now. So he lands in Seattle, and he releases the 36 passengers after
It's a small plane.
Yeah, quite a small plane. Lets them off after he's got the money, but he forced 2 pilots, a flight engineer, and a flight attendant to remain on the plane with him. He asked for it to be refueled, and then he ordered the pilot to fly to Mexico City.
Okay.
So he also orders them to do a few things. The plane has to fly under 10,000 feet at a speed slower than 200 knots. So that then happens. Plane takes off, follows his instructions, and while the plane was between Seattle and somewhere near Nevada, he puts on a pair of dark sunglasses, walks to the back of the plane, takes off his tie, lowers the rear steps, and jumps. That's the last that we ever see of Dan.
Did you say he puts on a parachute there? Because all I heard you say was puts on sunglasses.
He also put on a parachute.
Okay.
He takes 2 parachutes with him.
Right.
And we'll come to details on that later. But I think that's a good point to take a little intermission and hear another story.
Mysterious. Okay.
Okay.
This is written in like a first person perspective.
Okay.
So there's a lot of eyes in this.
Okay. So this is you.
This is
You're
me.
confessing to a crime.
I'm the one that's researched it.
Okay, go ahead.
What I'm really is reading out someone else has researched it. So I was researching some resolved cases yesterday, and I came across Joshua Maddox. Joshua was a smart, funny, and easygoing 18-year-old who was last seen in May 2008 in his hometown of Woodland Park, Colorado. He told his dad that he was going for a walk, and he was reported missing in August 2015. No, he wasn't. He was reported missing.
Okay.
Because it wasn't like 4 years in between in between when he was last seen and reported missing.
Okay.
Sorry, in August 2015, his remains were discovered.
Okay.
They were found in a chimney of an abandoned cabin only 2 blocks from his dad's house. So the cabin had been abandoned for about 10 years, and the owner would check in every now and then.
Mm-hmm.
And the owner did say that there was a smell, a bad smell, but he just thought maybe a squirrel had got trapped and died. And his body was only discovered when the cabin was being taken down.
Right, okay.
So there's a couple of odd things about this. So after they found his body, it was ruled that he died like an accidental death.
Yeah.
That he was trying to climb down the chimney or climb up the chimney after trying to explore this or trying to get into explore this abandoned building.
Okay. How old was he?
18.
8. Okay. I suppose that sounds plausible-ish.
So there's a couple of strange things about this.
Okay.
So he was found only wearing a ribbed thermal shirt, and the rest of his clothes were outside the fireplace inside the cabin.
Okay, that's weird.
Literally no underwear, no nothing.
But a thermal vest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the theory of him like coming down from the top doesn't really make any sense.
No.
The owner of the cabin said that there was metal bars across the top of the chimney,
Right.
so that like to stop like raccoons or anything crawling in the top. And he was found in a fetal position in the chimney as well.
Okay.
So it doesn't really add up, does it?
No.
Okay. So then this person had been looking through some Ask Reddits about some horrible discoveries that they found out. So like, did you know a killer or something like that?
Yeah.
And one of the posts was, I went to high school with this skinny dork hippie named Andy who played guitar in a band. I was never really good friends with him or anything, but a year or so after I graduated, one of my good friends, Josh, started hanging out with him and then went missing. Last I heard, Andy was telling other friends, yeah, me and Josh have been spending a lot of time together. We're planning a trip to New Mexico. Didn't think anything of it until someone showed me these articles. So Andy had indeed headed down to New Mexico, where he found himself chilling out with this caretaker of a disabled guy and got invited over to their apartment. The caretaker gets in the shower, and when he comes back out, the disabled guy is stabbed to death and Andy is gone. When Andy got arrested, he also claimed to have killed a woman in Tesos and stuffed her body in a barrel.
Bloody hell.
So the cops did find this woman stuffed in a barrel, but they'd already had someone in custody for it.
Right.
So they didn't charge Andy for it.
Okay.
Yeah. And they found out that the caretaker had died in a bar fight later on. So then they didn't really have any other evidence to convict.
Back up that.
Yeah, so that it ended up being kind of let out.
Even though it now seems pretty cut and dry from that it was him.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's a quote from the coroner.
Go on.
He says, I know it's not a natural death, and I'm confident that it's not suicide, he said. But the other options are accidental death, homicide, or undetermined cause of death. It's frustrating we can't pin it down. But he eventually went with accidental.
Yeah.
So then nothing got put forward to the homicide. Yeah. And basically can't track down this Andy, and it's all very mysterious. So why is he half naked? Why is he up a chimney?
Well, I mean, that still doesn't really get explained, even if it is this. So are we suggesting Andy is the one who killed him, along with the woman in the barrel and the disabled guy?
That's the theory that's been put out there.
Because that would mean that he...
I think that the timeline is he's killed Josh.
Yeah.
He then goes down to New Mexico after on the way killing someone, put in a barrel. Okay. Goes down, kills someone there.
Yeah.
Then disappears into the ether.
My only theory I'm drawing from this, if assuming it's Andy that killed him, that maybe they had been... Were they friends?
Apparently friendly, yeah.
If he's only wearing a thermal vest, okay, maybe they were gonna do more than friend things. Okay. So he was getting undressed or something. At which point, maybe he's now vulnerable and he's like, this is my moment, I'm gonna kill him. And the guy's like, oh shit, he's gonna kill me. I can't get out of the room. Let's get up the chimney. So maybe he gets stuck there, and he's cowering in the fetal position and doesn't know what to do when he dies.
I know. Or, because I imagine if he was killed previous to being put up there, that's
how would you get him in the fetal position halfway up a chimney?
I don't know.
That's why it seems odd.
Yeah, why out of everywhere you to go, why would you go up a chimney though? Do you know what I mean, would you surely even if the door was blocked,
you'd still try. Maybe say someone's there with a knife. Mm-hmm. Say that was a scenario. Your door's blocked. Maybe he's even barricaded it in some way.
Right.
And the only thing you can see is a chimney opening.
Gosh.
You'd go for it, I suppose?
Yeah.
I expect you're probably not thinking rationally in that situation
anyway.
No, I
imagine not, yeah. Unless they, got him drunk, got him high or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it was accidental, maybe
maybe he was drunk and high and it was accidental.
Yeah.
Maybe there wasn't a murder. It's mysterious. It's odd circumstances to be halfway up a chimney with a vest on.
Yes, it is. But it's only 2 blocks away from his house as well, because it doesn't necessarily have to be Andy. It could have been someone else as well.
Odd, nonetheless. There are some weird deaths. I know that we're doing a topic on it, but whilst going through, there are some weird circumstances.
For sure.
There was a lot to pick from.
Definitely, yeah.
We could definitely do a part 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Yeah, maybe I'll do a bit more in-depth research, because these are kind of mysterious, but I don't know how much you can talk about them.
Yeah, to be honest, it's kind of like this one. There's just a few more suspects, I think, that we'll come on to. Talking of which...
Go on. Carry on your...
Right, let's carry on then. Okay, so as we left last time, he had got the money, he jumped out the plane.
Mm-hmm. Sunglasses on. Right, so this is... The FBI then launched what would become... The FBI.
The FBI.
Here they are again.
Again. It's almost like there's a crime to solve.
A federal crime.
So they launched what would become one of the longest and most exhaustive investigations in its history.
Does exhaustive mean, in this sense, I was tiring?
I don't know. Or exhausting on resources, maybe?
Or they literally checked every man out.
Well...
Are you him?
Honestly...
Sounds like it.
Sounds like it. Right, so the case was known as the Norjack case, which was a shortening of Northwest and hijacking. It's got to have a good code name. So they made little to no progress for 9 years until a package containing $5,800 was found on a beach with serial numbers that match those given to Dan Cooper.
Where was this beach?
It was, hang on, I have the name of it, Tina Bar Beach.
Oh, where is it though?
Not near. So there was one theory.
We're talking like Honolulu?
No, I think within the same
Northwest
state
area. Okay.
Yeah, but not... The only way that it could have happened was there was a crazy theory of the money dropped while he was falling.
Yeah.
Fell in a river.
Right.
Went miles down river.
Yeah.
And ended up vaguely near this beach. But it seemed flimsy.
I tell you what, if I discovered a large parcel of money on a beach, I'd be hard pressed to hand that in.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they found twice as much money.
Yeah, they said, I've found... It's an odd number as well, isn't it? 5,800.
Yeah.
You'd think
it took like $200.
But then, that's it. That is a pretty easy crime to get away with, isn't it? Taking the money.
Yeah. Unless you're walking with an FBI agent, you're like, what the fuck is my luck
I didn't
here?
actually write this down because I didn't think it was important. I think it was a 15-year-old kid that found it as well. So...
Gosh, wow.
He's a
impressive
rich kid now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it seemed more likely that this money, he landed with the money and it got there another way, rather than falling out the plane. Mm-hmm. That's how it seems likely anyway. Ultimately, though, this also led to nothing. They kept scouring around the beach and found nothing. All the beaches nearby found nothing. So that's the only lead that they've got so far. Also, I found out at this point...
9 years later as well, to wash up on a beach is a long time to be out at sea.
9 years later, yeah. DB Cooper. DB has nothing to do with the case at all. There was I think it was a journalist accidentally reported DB instead of Dan Cooper.
Oh.
But it's now become known as the DB Cooper case. Even though his name's not DB. Thought that was interesting. So anyway, as the years go on...
Yes.
Many anonymous letters were sent to news outlets claiming to be Dan Cooper, including 2 men who were arrested for claiming to be DB Cooper and trying to sell a tell-all story to tabloids.
Dickheads.
Why, if you were trying to get famous and make some money, would you claim to be a criminal, which you could very easily get arrested for, which is what happened?
People are idiots.
People are idiots. I mean, clearly.
People that want money and can't find it on a beach have to make up stories.
That's true. That is true. So the FBI say that they had to go through over 800 suspects.
Wow.
That's why it's exhaustive.
All of them called Dan.
All of them called Dan or DB.
Mm-hmm.
They eventually narrowed it down to 24 suspects.
That's a nice number.
Also, I found this I thought was interesting. Talking of FBI trying to do some stuff to keep the case going. They originally charged him with air piracy.
Ooh.
Sounds like a cool crime,
That is
doesn't
a
it?
cool
Not
crime.
that I condone crime, but being an air pirate.
I'm an air pirate.
I'm an air
That's
pirate.
Awesome.
But the statute of limitations on air piracy is only 5 years.
Right.
So to keep it going, they changed it to a violation of the Hobbs Act, which was a statute designed to prevent extortion. And that has no statute of limitations. So
Right.
if he was found today, they could charge him still.
Right.
For his crimes.
I do find statute of limitation a bit of a weird concept in general.
Yes.
Like, if you get away with it for long enough,
Yeah.
that's fine.
It's almost, it seems like if you're playing like a video game and like, you know, like GTA,
Yeah.
when your stars disappear, it's like, well, we can't get you now because you've got away with the crime. It seems like there shouldn't be one. Is that there must be a reason.
Is it to, like, stop resources being spent on cold cases?
Must be. So anyway, I thought that was interesting. Anyway,
Yeah.
I'll leave you with one more fact before we take another intermission. It's thought that he had no accomplice because while he did order the plane to land in Mexico City specifically, the pilot planned the route.
Right.
So he had no like chance to plan where his jump was to meet someone or anything like that. Unless he knew he'd fly in a vague direction, but that would be a big assumption to make. So I thought that was a very interesting plot point, that he seems to have planned all of this very thoroughly, but then hasn't actually planned where he's going to jump out.
Did he take the briefcase with the bomb in with him off the plane?
I don't know, actually.
And do we find out whether it was an actual bomb or it was just a threat?
It's not mentioned, so I think it was an actual bomb.
Yeah.
I think that's... Yeah.
If I was him, I don't know, is the right thing to do, like, if you got the money, do you take the bomb with you out of the plane? Or do you leave the bomb in the plane with the people?
Yeah,
being terrified.
I'm gonna say he did take it with him, because there's details that we'll find out later. He only left behind his tie,
right,
and one item that the public doesn't know what it was. They never released. It's just an undisclosed item.
Okay.
That's all we know.
Okay, cool.
Right. Give us another story while we take an intermission.
Okay, so this is the headline for this one.
Okay.
In 2014, a teenager discovers a professionally severed, embalmed head of an older woman in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. While evidence shows she was dismembered at the hands of someone who knew what they were doing, 2 red rubber bouncy balls replaced her eyes.
That sounds awful.
A practice unheard of, yeah. Do you want to hear the full story?
Yeah.
So
No.
That's it. Done. Back to my story. On December 14th, 2014, a teenage boy discovered a woman's embalmed severed head that lay in the woods 30 feet off a rural road.
Can you imagine discovering that?
Horrendous.
You'd be scarred for life.
I was speaking to Annie's stepmom the other day, who was saying that there was a DOV troop basically going up to the top of this hill.
Yeah.
And they got to the top of the hill basically as morning hit, and they found that this man that was just like chilling there, kind of sat up, and they went over, and he was dead.
Oh.
Like these, basically, 16-year-old kids have found this like dead. Oh god, imagine. You're scarred.
I actually, this thought went through my head a couple of days ago. Now I have a dog.
You're a dog
going
walker.
On early
You're
walks.
a jogger.
I tick all the boxes for people that discover grisly murders. It's like whenever you read an article about a dog walker discovered a body at 7 a.m., a jogger discovered the body. I'm like, I'm going to discover a body at some point.
Are you if you jog with your dog? Are you a dog jogger?
A dog jogger, and you're also extra likely to find a dead body.
Do you think as a jogger you're more or less likely to be murdered? Probably more.
More likely to be murdered, but less likely to die from heart disease.
Less likely to be caught.
That's true.
Someone's chasing you.
More likely to become a murderer?
Listen, I ran a 10k at the weekend. You're not catching me. Her eyes were shut.
Yes, I almost forgot we were on this then.
And her mouth was agape. Investigators scoured the surrounding areas where the head was discovered, but there wasn't any other remains to be found. The woman's face was still recognisable, but facial recognition turned up no information on the woman's identity. It was estimated that the head had been there between 1 and 4 weeks.
For some reason, I thought you were going to say longer, because if it was like professionally severed, embalmed, it could have been there for like a long while.
I think that's just estimated. They're not sure.
Okay.
Judging by her short grey or partially grey hair and older appearance, Jane Doe is approximately between 50 to 80 years old. The woman's head was examined by a forensic artist and anatomy professor who determined Jane Doe's head was severed by someone with anatomical skill. She says, "We lifted the flap on the back of the neck. We could see that the whole purpose of that was to access the key joint that would prevent both head and vertebrae column. Both the heads. So they basically like got a flap of skin to go underneath. Yeah.
God.
It's unlikely that anybody doing this with a kitchen knife or anything remotely like that.
Yeah.
It was well done and placed perfectly. She was dismembered professionally." Aside from this, it was also found that Jane Doe's eyes were closed shut with the use of eye caps, a commonly used mortician's tool. So did you know about this? They're like basically lenses, like contact lenses you put in your eye, but they've got like teeth on the other side, so that you would like close their eyes and then they can't go back up.
Jesus Christ.
It's weird, isn't it?
This story is horrific.
When the eye caps were removed, the examiners discovered that Jane Doe's eyeballs had been removed and were replaced with 2 red rubber bouncy balls. While eye caps are common in the use in the mortician trade, there was no such practice that involved putting a children's toy in someone's face. Imagine being that person. You open the eyes and it's just red.
Yeah.
Like a demon's eyes.
Yeah. Morticians and, well, I suppose a few different fields, you must be so desensitized to the kind of thing that would, like, even talking about this, like, my stomach's like, I just utmost respect for people in those jobs.
Yeah, it must be very hard.
Yeah.
It must be a very hard job. Salt Lake City-based isoforensic company completed an isotope testing on Jane Doe's head. For those unfamiliar with the procedure, isotopes are elements in the body that come from drinking water that can be unique to a particular geographical area.
Okay.
Geographical area. As a result, it was determined that Jane Doe spent the last 7 months living in several locations in areas ranging from Ohio, southwestern Pennsylvania, northwest Virginia, and western Maryland to central and northeastern Pennsylvania and eastern New York. So basically all over the place.
Yeah.
She'd moved 3 or 4 times. However, there's no evidence that she lived in Beaver County in the months prior to her discovery. And according to the investigators, the embalming process had compromised her DNA. So there was almost little to no DNA. The little DNA that was salvaged led to no matches in a national database. It's important to note that there's an article that makes a different claim stating there remains held no DNA and it had been destroyed by the embalming chemicals. Foul play is not suspected in Jane Doe's death, but it hasn't been entirely ruled out either.
Okay. Well, I was going to say, is this a case of a legitimate death? Because she seems to have been so professionally
done,
severed and all that it seems like maybe she did die normally. But then you'd think that someone would come forward and be like, oh no, I did that.
What, you come forward, I've severed this person's head and put eyes
no, like
on it.
if it was a legitimate job, that I can't think of a reason why they'd sever the head, and I don't know why, but yeah.
So the autopsy revealed that Jane Doe had likely passed away due to cardiac distress. So more like to be like a heart attack or something like that. This was determined as toxicology exams revealed traces of lidocaine and atropine in her system, 2 medicines used to treat irregular heart issues. However, one investigator said, "Prove to me that it's not homicide, that she was alive and someone killed her and played with that body, including putting red eyeballs in there."
Yeah, that's weird.
So, basically, nothing's ever been identified.
Nothing.
They suspect that if it was ever to be identified, that it would through the help of a dentist, because she'd had work done on basically all of her teeth, like different work. So, but no one's ever come forward to
That'd
say.
be so hard.
Oh yeah,
because that could all a dentist would have to go off is, I did work on teeth at some point. You know, there's no reason that would stand out because you don't know that person. Yeah. It'll never get solved then, probably.
No.
God. All that's going through my head is just how horrific that's going to be for the person that discovered it. Just a head. Because I think it's one thing, it would be horrific to discover a dead body.
Right.
But just the head, I find that just so much more horrifying. I don't know why.
What is that the worst part to find? I'm just trying to think of like what would be
a foot.
An
arm.
Yeah. Just like a hand or a finger. Like there's always, you see stuff on like crime shows where it's a dog comes running back, and they have like a finger or something. Oh, what's that, Maple?
It's a head.
It's a head,
professionally severed and embalmed.
Yeah, so we don't know whether it was done.
It's either
post-mortem or that was the reason for her death.
That'd be a twisted person if that wasn't a legitimate job. But then what instance would that be a legitimate job?
No, it's probably...
There's not any instance where...
No.
You don't hear of people going, oh, we're sorry, so-and-so has passed away. Would you like their head?
I think probably if it was to have done by... It's obviously done by someone professional. What's probably happened is, we're going to cremate her, or we're going to have a closed casket, and this guy's gone, I want to try out my red eyeball trick here. Severed the head, put the rest in the incinerator.
Yeah.
And then had a little bit of...
Could it have been
fun?
Like lost in transit? Is there like a case for... No, there's literally no way that just a head could get lost somewhere.
Has anybody seen my head? I dropped a head. It's got red eyeballs. Okay. You know it. You've seen it around somewhere.
In the instance that did happen, though, no one had come forward to admit they lost the head.
No.
They're like, oh shit, that's the head I lost. I'm not going to come forward and admit that.
Yes, I dropped that earlier. That was me. Weird.
Yeah.
Right, let's finish your story.
Right, back to the suspects. Mm-hmm. Okay, suspect number 1.
Dan.
Not Dan. None of these suspects are called Dan.
Well, they're doing a terrible job then, aren't they?
I know. Suspect 1, Richard Floyd McCoy.
Floyd McCoy. I
think a great name.
That's made up, isn't it, obviously?
Real name, Dan Cooper.
Yep.
Right, so this guy has been convicted for a prior crime that shares many similarities.
He's a space pirate.
I've forgotten the actual word now. Air piracy? That was it, wasn't it? Air pirate? Plane pirate?
Doesn't sound as good as space pirate, does it?
Doesn't. So, right, he was convicted of being a space pirate.
Right.
So he has previously hijacked a plane. He also parachuted out of a Boeing 727 using the rear steps, same as Dan Cooper. He also requested 4 parachutes, also passed a note to the flight attendant saying that he had a bomb, and both notes included the phrase, "No funny stuff."
Would you do it again, though?
That's what you'd think, but that's a lot of coincidences to have, like, that many things.
Maybe they've just started a flight hijacking group.
Yeah, maybe.
It's on Facebook.
So this is, I said there was an undisclosed item.
Right.
McCoy's family identified this item as belonging to him.
Right.
That was left behind on the plane. However...
How specific does an item have to be?
I don't know. That's what I mean, like, if it was my guitar, that one, and you knew the markings well enough, I don't know. Or is it like, it's a pack of cigarettes that he always has on him? Or,
yeah.
I don't know.
That's his type of chewing gum.
And we'll never know.
No.
Anyway, the FBI ruled him out. And correct me here, I don't know why this has ruled him out as a suspect in the long term. Okay?
Right.
The FBI ruled him out as he was found to be at home with his family for Thanksgiving dinner the day after the hijacking.
Right. It depends where his home is, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how long it took him to get there.
So they ruled him out, and he was eventually caught and put in prison for his previous hijacking. He escaped from prison.
Yeah.
And then he was shot.
Via space.
But he was then shot dead in a standoff with law enforcement. Oh. However, I'm not sure on the timeline, so maybe this does rule him out, but I don't know why.
Maybe he was already dead.
Yeah, but I don't know why that rules him out as for this hijacking.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously alive because he was at Thanksgiving the next day. Do you know what I mean?
there probably wasn't enough time for him, unless it was a really long parachute to get from wherever home was. Yeah.
So that's him anyway.
Okay.
Suspect 1. Suspect
Are we going through all 24?
2, 3.
Okay.
We're going through 3. Not 3, not 23. Suspect 2 was called Dwayne Webber.
Dwayne the DB Cooper Webber.
Good one.
Yeah, no, please.
Right. On his deathbed, in the last hour of his life, he called his wife over and told her, "I have a secret to tell you. I'm Dan Cooper." His wife, Jo, then came forward after this had happened and said that there was lots of clues that she hadn't questioned previously, but now it made sense, including him frequently having nightmares where he'd talk in his sleep saying, "I've left my fingerprints on a plane." He also had a knee injury that he said he got from jumping from a plane. His handwriting was found in the margins of a library book about Dan Cooper, and his wife also claimed that Dwayne had taken her to the Tina Bar beach where that money was later found.
Right.
So apparently that all seems pretty damning. Also, his wife claimed that he had an old Northwestern Orient airline plane ticket. I should have finished ticket, not a plane. He didn't have a whole plane. He had the ticket.
Ticket.
That apparently he just kept for no reason.
Right.
But all of that together, I think he's my favourite suspect.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think he's a good guy.
Yeah. To be fair though, on your deathbed, maybe I'd like to come out with all kinds of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Just to fuck with people.
Like,
the problem is though, you got to make sure you're dying, haven't you?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh shit! I've really put myself in a corner.
I'm the Zodiac killer. And then you make like a miraculous recovery.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, I'm not.
No,
I'm not. You're in jail at this point. It's too late.
Yeah.
Right, so that's that. Last suspect, Kenneth Christensen. Okay, so this one came from his brother Lyle saw a TV program on DB Cooper, and he became convinced that his brother was Dan Cooper. Kenneth also reportedly told his brother on his deathbed, "There's something you should know, but I cannot tell you." And then he died before he could finish this thought.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I just.
Yeah. Go on.
I feel like deathbed scenarios like that are almost always fictitious. I think...
You'd think so.
Yeah.
From this, it sounds like it happens every day.
It does, doesn't it?
Anyway, let's continue on. So Kenneth, when he was alive, he was head flight attendant with the airline that got hijacked. So that would suggest that
he was on the plane at the time.
He had inside knowledge into how things worked, etc., etc. He reportedly, I like this one, he reportedly loved bourbon.
But did he have it with lemonade?
We don't know. He also bought a house shortly after the heist took place.
But he said, I wish I had $5,800 more, because then I'd buy a bigger house.
When the flight attendant from the Cooper flight was shown a picture of Kenneth, she replied, "The photo matches."
That's a weird way of saying that's him, isn't it?
I've not actually got a quote because I didn't write it down.
So you just said it weirdly.
I think that was just me making little notes.
Okay.
The photo matches. She said something to the effect of, hang on. She was quoted as saying, "That looks like him."
Yes.
That makes more sense. Right, the FBI ruled him out for 2 reasons.
Mm-hmm. His name's not Dan.
They didn't think he matched the description, despite the air hostess saying he did. So I find that weird.
Eyewitnesses are notoriously terrible.
Yeah.
Especially in high-stress situations like that.
They also ruled him out...
Was he just wearing sunglasses?
Honestly, I need to... If anyone... As long as you're not driving a vehicle, Google now DB Cooper and look at the sketch, because it's great.
Show me.
Google on your phone. It's easier than me.
Yeah, he looks like he's part of the Men in Black, doesn't he?
He does.
Mm-hmm.
They also ruled him out, though, for the reason that Kenneth was a former paratrooper.
Right.
And they said they don't think that Cooper was a paratrooper. I thought that seems like an odd reason to rule someone out.
Mm-hmm. Paratroopers don't need parachutes.
The reason for this is that he took 2 chutes with him. Mm-hmm. One chute was a military chute, so it wasn't steerable. Mm-hmm. You just had to fall wherever it takes you. The other one was sewn shut.
Okay.
So they were the 2 chutes that he had on him. Okay, so they think that a paratrooper would have recognised, I can't steer this one, and this one's sewn shut.
Why did they give him a sewn shut one?
I don't know.
That's like, god damn.
Yeah.
You'd be mad, wouldn't you? You'd be absolutely livid.
You'd be raging.
Did he wear both at the same time?
I don't know. I don't know how that works. But they came to the conclusion he's not a paratrooper because of that. It was pitch black, raining, and very windy. It was also over a heavily wooded area. So they're saying any experienced paratrooper would not do any of this.
Or would they, to throw it off?
Plus, he was wearing loafers and trench coat. They were like, this doesn't add up. So
that's throw him off.
To throw that's exactly. So the case there is, there's a theory that he just died.
Right.
He didn't make it out he didn't make the jump.
He used a sewn up chute.
Yeah.
And was mad on the way down.
Died. And he was like, for fuck's sake, I should have checked this.
Should have kept my tie as a mini chute.
So to finish this off, the tie, as you've just mentioned, so there's a amateur group of scientists called Citizen Sleuths.
Oh, this is already sounding genuinely
good. So
good.
they try and solve cases like this.
Yep.
So they used an electron microscope on D.B. Cooper's tie that revealed particles including cerium, strontium sulfide, and pure titanium.
Cool.
Okay. The scientists went on to say, these are what we call rare earth elements. They're used in very narrow fields for very specific things. One place they were being used at the time was Boeing, where they were developing an advanced supersonic plane, meaning that this guy, Cooper, could very well have worked at one of these factories as an engineer or a manager or something. So this hasn't actually led anywhere, though. They're just saying that the most likely scenario is that he was an employee.
Oh, okay.
So they've basically put that out there and said, if anyone worked at these factories at the time, and you've got a suspect that looks like this guy, come forward.
Wow.
So as of 2011, the FBI case was described, like I said, as one of the longest and most exhaustive investigations in its history. The case file was measured at 40 feet high and detailed 1,000 different suspects. The case was officially open for 45 years before being closed in 2016, even though they're still willing to listen for any leads now.
Why has it run for so long, that one in particular? Do you know what I mean? That sounds like an exceptionally long case. It's not like nobody died from it, do you know what I mean?
No. Maybe there's a lot of cases, though, that are
that long.
That have run for that long. It's just that not all of them are public knowledge as well.
I wonder if it was like a really easy case that someone was like, I can just keep riding this all the time. And just keep riding it all the time. And then he retires, like, close the case. Done. Yeah.
Yeah. So what's your theory after that? What do you think happened?
I think he got away scot-free.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I think he died.
How can you have a favourite suspect and also think he died?
I don't know. I changed my mind. I just think he's either the most expert paratrooper ever and was like, I'm going for this extremely dangerous terrain in these conditions, wearing a trench coat and loafers with a non-steerable parachute, or he didn't know what he was doing and he died.
Yeah.
The only thing that would suggest he was alive is the fact that money turned up on that beach.
Yeah, elsewhere.
And it was not that close.
Was it like, how did they find the money? Was it like in lots of different notes altogether, or was it like bundled
in a bag?
Together? Right.
All in a bag.
Was it the same bag they'd taken off the plane, or was it?
I assume it must have been. It was like 100% linked to that.
Cool.
So.
Cool.
That's that.
It's very mysterious.
Mysterious. I think that closes our mysterious deaths and disappearances there.
It does.
Well, this has been another week of Two Sheep in a Pool. If you like what you've listened to, give us a rating on your podcast app of choice.
Tell a friend.
Tell a friend. You can
tell your mum, tell your dad.
Most importantly, tell your mum and dad.
Yep. Not to listen, just say that I listen to this podcast.
Tell them what you've been up to today. I listened to this great podcast.
Two Sheep in a Pool. What a strange name. They sound like fun guys, I reckon.
You can find us in all the normal places on social media or our website, which is twosheepinapool.com. You can email in at bar@twosheepinapool and email email in recommendations for classic films that we might not have watched, because I think that's our topic for next week.
Sure.
But yeah, until next week.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you later.
Bye.